Sorry, I'm just adding color.
Oh, okay, because I think we're live right now. How about we do a countdown? Well, hello. We are loosey goosey today. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to another Comedium roast. And this is a new season for us. This is a whole new thing. This is a whole new look. People got a feel for things last night. And we're gonna have some guests. And with me on this style segment is Daryl. Daryl, how are you? How was your summer?
Hi. Fantastic. It was busy. It was really busy. And yeah, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of fun things coming up. So I'm excited.
Oh, you want to talk about me? All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so
How's
I
your
went to
summer?
Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
I did
Did you
another
meet
10,000 readings this summer.
did you meet Tim
And
Walls?
I had a bunch of cheese curds. And just to let you know, just a little inside joke here. Um, yeah, the cheese curds have finally like I'm over the cheese curds. Like I'm okay if I don't have another cheese curd for another month.
Yeah.
But only
Yeah.
a month. But only a month. What are we gonna do today? What do you want to do?
Well, I think we've got like a really cool guest
Oh,
coming on today. What?
says you. Let's let the rest of the world be a judge. I mean, no pressure. Meanwhile, Michelle's sitting there going, "What? What?" Um,
What did I sign up for?
Well, and again, I think that this is those of you that are tuning in, and I'm seeing a bunch of you log on now. Thanks again for joining us. This is going to be a little bit of a different feel with our Comedium Roast podcast. Those of you that don't know, we have a really cool publishing company called 10th House Publishers, and we have some amazing books coming out here between here and the end of the year. You're going to hear from myself. You're going to hear from different age demographics. You're going to see different walks of life and people that want to tell their story, and it's a really cool venture, and it's really great. And Daryl, of course, is the editor-in-chief of that 10th House Publishers, and I think it's time for me to kind of turn it over to you right now.
Awesome. Yeah, so we came into existence a little over a year ago. And in the fall, we had a writing contest, which was to talk about your aha moment when you realize you were on the right path that's meant for you. And our contest winner, Michelle, now has her first book out, and she is our new guest for our first
our,
podcast
our,
here.
our new guest.
Our first guest for our new podcast here. So
Love
I
it.
am going to bring Michelle in here and welcome her.
Hey,
Hi,
Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited
Yeah.
to be here.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to have you. And I'm going to start out with a really easy question for you. So, how does it feel to be a published author?
Yeah, it feels so exciting, very surreal. I feel like I've been waiting for this moment for so long. So I'm so excited that it's actually happening.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we're excited for you and to have been a part of your process to make this dream come true.
and
Yeah,
and
it really has been a dream come true.
Awesome.
Well, and again, I'm actually putting in there that you can get the book now. It's called Shift Your Standards, and it's a pretty fascinating book, and it's a great read for people that people ask me what it's about, and of course, I think what they're really doing is testing as to whether or not I actually read the books we put out. I think that's part of it. I think that's really kind of Daryl's test to be like, did you do anything for this at all? And then I say things like, well, actually, a lot of the voice, I actually heard a lot of my own voice in this, but sometimes good advice is just a similar voice. And some of the ways that you approach this, the stuff I love about this is that it is really kind of a first person perspective in a way, even though you're talking about things at large, but it is a personal account of being able to overcome the dynamics that you may have had in challenges to kind of like it's like a failure to launch book in a way
Mhm.
where you're like, "Hey, I need to kind of step into that." Talk a little bit about like that moment, not necessarily about the book, but what was a moment where you're like, "I'm going through this." Like when your reality became, "I need to get moving on this."
Yeah. So when I was post grad, I think I had all of these expectations about what that
Mm,
adult life was gonna be like. I thought I was gonna feel so excited and ready to take on the world. And I think I realized once I felt all that anxiety and lack of motivation that this was something I hadn't experienced before and that I didn't know how to navigate it.
Mm. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a daunting thing to come out of college and feel like you know what your plan is, and then shortly after to realize the plan that you wanted or thought you wanted isn't the right thing for you.
Yeah, exactly.
it's interesting too when you know, let's talk about expectations. Where did those expectations come from? Was it your
Mm.
own personal expectations? Was it society? Was it the parental units going, "We put you through this. We need to make sure we see a return." And you're just like, "I don't even know what any of that stuff is." How did you where do you think the expectations came from?
Yeah, those are definitely those societal expectations of you graduate college, you get your dream job, you buy the house, you get married, have kids, you do all the things.
Mhm.
And I definitely felt the pressure of that when I first graduated.
When did you realize, like, you needed to kind of address it, though? Like, what was that aha moment where you're like, "This is not what they told me it was gonna be. This is not what I
Yeah.
think I signed up for."
Yeah, so it was just I graduated in May and it was going through my first summer and realizing, okay, I haven't landed the job. I don't want the job either. I don't want that 9 to 5 that I thought I would.
Ooh.
And it was days of nice summer days spent in bed and not being able to have the energy to socialize. And I remember my physical symptoms of anxiety were just so bad. My heart was beating out of my chest on the daily for no apparent reason. And I just realized that I could not live like that, but also I wanted to figure out how to get out of that.
Right. That
Don't
yeah, I can't even imagine. Sorry, Brandon, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine, you're fine.
Um, so I know, having edited your book, that you took a very courageous step. Um, and what would you say that that step was for you? How did you suddenly say, "I'm going to shift this. I'm going to move this"?
Yeah, well, for me, it was when I had that breaking point of anxiety when I write about this in my book, but I go down to the kitchen in my childhood home
Mm.
and I just start crying to my parents because I just could not deal with those emotions anymore. And I remember I went into my room and I found the book The Secret and I picked it up and
Hmm.
that definitely felt like divinely orchestrated because I the stuff in that book was really what got me inspired and helped me have the motivation to take that leap, which I hadn't had any motivation that entire first summer. So it was definitely that moment.
What do you think the hesitation was? Like, why do you I mean, we're kind of we talk about how school motivates us or trains us to become performers, to be productive, people in society and that sort of thing. And, at first I have to tell you how how you're presenting it. It's kind of like, oh my gosh, I have to work. I don't want to work this summer and that sort of thing.
Mhm,
But I'm telling you, how you write about how you overcame this it's pretty cool. It really is because you don't just say, like, you pick it apart, you're like, "Why do I feel this way?" And I think this is a great voice if you've got a kid in their mid to late 20s still at home, early 30s even, or maybe they've moved out and moved back in 2 or 3 times. If you're a parent of one of these kids or you're one of these kids, and I'm calling them kids, that It's such a profound cut the mustard, get right down to it, and say these are the ways that you should be approaching this. And some of it will work for people and some of it won't, but that's the beauty of a book like this. You've got like a whole workbook connected to it. You've got a whole dialogue of you being able to say, like, hey, this is how I tried it. You might want to try something different. If you can't do it this way, do it as a substitute for this or whatever. Like, you don't just say either you get through this or you don't, which is what parents are saying.
Yeah.
So here you are kind of being like, okay, I don't know what to do, there in the first summer. And of course, everybody north of 45 right now is going, these kids today, they're lazy. No, the way you look at it, you go, oh my gosh, this is a real emotion. I'm going to
Mhm.
acknowledge it for once. And this is a great way of saying, oh, this is just real. Get over your generational stuff. Get over your crap. This is very real. I don't care about those things. I care about being successful yourself. If somebody was to ask you about this book, if a parent was to ask you about this book and say, hey, my kids are struggling, they're a graduate of this college, they're finding their way, or they quit school and they went and they worked a 9 to 5 and they're just stuck. What would you tell a parent that this book could help them with?
Yeah, I think what you mentioned before about how it can come off that, I just didn't wanna work or that kids don't wanna work and that whole generational thing. I think the whole point of what I'm trying to express in my book and that I would tell parents is that it's not about people not wanting to work the 9 to 5 or step into those things. It's finding your authenticity and figuring out what aligns with what truly is gonna make you happy and not
Love that.
what everyone is in your ear telling you is gonna make you happy. And I think if you go on that journey of building a relationship with yourself and doing the inner work and the growth, you will figure out what that is and
Mhm.
what brings that authentic authenticity and happiness to you. And that's
Absolutely.
what my the whole goal of my book is, for sure.
Right. Yeah, because what's right for one person isn't right for another. And there's definitely a shift in society that working the 9 to 5 and the same job for 50 years doesn't fly anymore. That's not what people want. They want something that's going to be
Mhm.
fulfilling to them for whatever reason that is. And so a lot of people are moving away from that 9 to 5 mentality. And I love that you address that because it really isn't for everybody. And you
Yeah.
can find a life and a job in a different way that is satisfying to you. And that's
Mhm.
what's important.
Yeah,
And I think what's also interesting for you to recognize too, Michelle, is you're sitting with two people that absolutely did this, but we did it, into our 40s and 50s. Where, the same diet, I mean, it manifested itself in weight gain and in depression and lackluster performances and that sort of thing. And then after a while, we're just like, you know what? I'm spending all my time and effort trying to be good at this, and I don't even like it, let alone
definitely.
love it. And it wasn't, I mean, for me, I was actually really proficient in recruiting because I could talk all the time and I knew how to shake hands and kiss babies and all that other stuff. And I was pretty good at it. But in a quiet moment, I'm like, this is just nonsense. It didn't fill my soul. It didn't help me where I wanted to go. It was great to interact with people. So I satisfied some of the check boxes, but I didn't do all the check boxes. Talk a little bit about like your inventory, your personal emotional IQ inventory, because that's something that really comes out in this. It's not written like that, but it's like your emotional IQ and your inventory is super. I mean, if I had that figured out in my 20s like you do, I don't know where I'd be right now. Like, it would be
Mhm.
I'd be on another planet. So walk us through that. Walk us through your emotional IQ development through this book.
Yeah, I mean, definitely when I look back on the person I was when I was in college and when I first graduated, I definitely didn't have that. I think I always had the kind of soul that I thought deeply, I felt things very deeply, um, but I definitely didn't have that emotional intelligence or anything like that, and it took me years to develop that through my whole journey, and that's what I highlight in my book, and I it was just over time, it wasn't an overnight thing, and I think it was through doing healing work and being honest with myself. Self-honesty was a huge thing for me, and I think it seems like such a little step, but things like that are really what build that over time.
Definitely. And I think a lot of what I enjoyed about reading your book is how you took the time to understand you as a person and what worked for
Mm.
you, what were your emotional blocks, um, learning accountability to stand up and say, okay, I see this in myself and I need to change it. That's hard for people in their
Yeah.
20s to do, and I applaud you for that.
Thanks.
But I want
I
to go
can't.
back to ask you about The Secret. What was it about The Secret, the book, that changed you on this trajectory that like sort of catapulted you? Sorry for
Yeah.
interrupting you off that.
This was a huge thing for me because this was me as an anxious overthinker struggling with those anxious spiraling thoughts all the time. It was me being in that moment realizing that I actually have power and that I don't have to be my anxious thoughts and that that didn't have to be my future and that I
Mhm.
actually had an out. I could figure out how to use my mind to my advantage, and the book just is filled with all the ways to do that, and that's why it was so important to me and such a big moment.
I just, it's funny. I can't tell you how many times, like around here in the shop, I would hear Daryl go, "Oh my God. Oh my God." And I'd be like, "All right, what's going on in there?" Like, never walk into a woman's office when she's saying, "Oh my God." But then you also, and then later I'm like, "What's going on?" She goes, "The stuff that she's talking about, like,
Mhm.
I had to realize this after I quit my job, or I had to realize this when I had to make my shift, when I had to, find my other passions or what have you." And I think that that's a really kind of important thing to recognize. I think if you're stuck at all in life, I think your book would help. I think it's geared
Mhm.
towards,
Yeah.
people, but even, me, after a really successful career doing something else, and it was the hardest thing for me to let go of was the time and effort I put into it. It wasn't even the money because I knew money would come somewhere else. It was, it became my identity. Talk about the identity shift that you have to go through when you go from being, connected to school and your grades and everything else, because that is truly some of the shift in standards. The standards around you shift. So then you have to shift your own. Talk about that. Talk about like how did you have to move from that older mindset and move into a newer mindset?
Yeah, I think it was just really realizing, okay, I don't know myself anymore. I thought I did, but I
Mm.
never had to get to know myself. You know, when you're in your youth, you're just told all of the steps, you're told what to do, you're pretty much told who you are. When I was in school, people would ask me about myself, and I would say, "Oh, yeah, I'm a marketing major and I'm on the equestrian team." I didn't say anything about the core qualities of who I am as a person. And that is a chapter in my book is about the grief of detaching from that. And
Oof.
it's those huge emotions of feeling like you think that life is never going to be as good as it was in your youth. And then you realize that's not true because you didn't even know yourself at that point. And
Right.
life is so much better now that I realize what life really can be like. And especially now because I'm more wise.
Well, I
Mhm.
think what you just described is the John Hughes theory. John Hughes, great filmmaker, Breakfast Club, St. Elmo's Fire, Uncle Buck, for lack of better terms, Home Alone. I mean, the list kind of goes down and down these paths of like, you. It was this Hollycon day of like needing to let go, and every single one of those films are about that next level of like you meet these
Mhm.
people and then you have to learn from them, and then you either grow up or you grow old. And it's like that's how our generation, mine and Daryl's generation, really kind of approached it. We approached it from like oh, this is kind of a tale of some people grow up and some people don't. And
Mhm.
some people kind of do it and some people don't. Your approach is much more of the I don't really care what any of you do,
Mm.
which is
Yeah.
so Aquarian. It's so Age of Aquarius because it's not, it's minding your own damn business. It's being able to do what you're supposed to do and find your path in a vacuum without any of that other influence. How do you feel about it today? I mean, here you are, you're publishing books now. You've got a book out. How do you feel your I mean, what's your next step now? Like, is this a checkbox? Is this a bigger thing? Like, where does your mindset lead you once you break out of that old mold?
Yeah. So for me, travel is a huge thing and it makes me feel so inspired. And so I definitely plan to travel. And I just want to help people and inspire people, whether that's through mentoring, whether that's through me going through more life lessons that I put out into a book later in life. I just want to help people and inspire people. And I write about this in my book. I don't necessarily know what that step is gonna be, where I'm gonna be, but I'm okay with that, and I just know it'll be to help make the world a better place and help people in general.
And Daryl, this is how we dealt with it. We learned with it with David Coverdale because I don't know where I'm going, and I sure don't know where I've been. I'm hanging on the promises and the songs of yesterday. Um,
Yeah.
me-
I don't sit on car hoods though, just so you know. I
and
try
let's
to
not.
avoid that.
I don't even want to talk about your athleticism. I don't even want to go there.
I'm not
Just
so
be like,
flexible anymore.
wait, anymore. Michelle's
Oh,
never coming back.
I
Anyway,
know.
so
She's like, "I don't even know what you guys are talking about."
yeah, she does. Yeah, she does. When you start talking about flexibility, she's only like 3 months out of college for crying out loud. She's no dummy for crying out loud. But anyway, so with this though, I mean, I think when you start, I mean, do you feel like I this was my challenge. I felt like if I would get to it when I was supposed to get to it in a weird sort of way, and I also felt like if I started to accomplish things, then I wouldn't have anything else to go on. Do you
Mm.
feel like you're accomplishing things too rapidly now that you've kind of released from things, or are you seeing other opportunities open up that you never thought it would?
Yeah, I don't think it's too rapid. I always think everything's meant to play out how it's meant to.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
I think this is just a perfect opportunity for me to step into the world of helping people, and I'm just gonna continue to do that however I'm meant to.
Yeah, because you're 5 years now, right? After
Yeah.
post-grad? So you've been through quite a journey in 5 years, and one of the chapters that I really enjoyed, actually, I mean, I enjoyed all of them, but I love how you talk about soul knowledge and intuition. Um, Talk a little bit about that. How did you really learn to tap into your intuition and start to trust it?
Yeah, so that was honestly such a difficult experience as someone who has anxiety, and I hear this so much. People talk about, "Well, I have anxiety, my thoughts are always anxious. I don't know what is my intuition and what is not." And so
Mhm.
that was difficult for me for sure, but I think it was one of those things where I became so sure of myself and what those feelings were that felt right to me, which was always just that feeling of calmness. And so the more I did it, the more I was in touch with that side of myself.
And that could quiet the anxiety.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you talk about a lot of powerful things with shifting your mindset. That in itself is such a huge task, and I think there's a lot of attention on mindfulness nowadays and paying attention to what you tell yourself. We're all our own worst enemies at times, and I think recognizing that at a young age as you did, and to show that vulnerability in your book is really pretty amazing, I have to say. I don't think a lot of people could kind of bare their soul the way you did, so I commend you for that.
Thanks. I appreciate it
Yeah,
so much.
of
Well,
course.
and again, I just want to go ahead and share. I want to give a little bit of a give a little bit of a break for everybody that's been talking here for a second. And I just want to share our sponsors here today. Of course, 10th House Publishers, where you can share your voice with the world, take your journey, craft it, foster it. You work directly with Daryl as the editor-in-chief and be able to kind of bring your story to light. We look for submissions, we look for conversation pieces, we look for things that really kind of help people along in their path. And can you help another person? We are pulling this out of an Aquarian mindset of not only having the ego of saying, hey, I want to be a published author, but keeping it healthy by making sure we help people. Other things that you're going to find on this website, certainly you can sign up for our email list, but we have contests similar to what Michelle had participated in and won, and all of a sudden we develop it into a book, which, I mean, how great is that story? And you'll also find challenges, writing prompts, seminars that Daryl does for writing. If you're a author, if you're a writing junkie, not really sure where to start or how to get going, that's a great place. And of course, our good friends over at Audible, we're going to have so much more with them here moving forward. We are recording all of these books to make sure that they are out there as well, up to and including some of yours truly as well. And we're going to have a lot of fun with this. Now, I don't know if this other slide worked or not, but I also wanted to tease that Daryl and I are going to be over at Mocha Lisa's on this Friday. If you're local in the Capital District, you know where Mocha Lisa's is. Actually saw a few people comment on it already. We are part of a high vibrational wellness book. We are best-selling Amazon authors. So just to let you know, we kind of know what we're doing. Michelle trusted Daryl. You should too. And we kind of know what we're talking about and how to get our books out there. So,
Show the
um,
book. The book
yeah,
is near you, Brandon.
what's that?
Show the book. It's right next to you on the
Uh,
table. I'm making you do something.
this whole time I'm struggling to try and get it up there. So it's high vibrational wellness. Lainey Savante Wilkin is the lead author on this. She organized all of us and got us going all in the right direction. My story in this is kind of about astrology and how astrology helps me work with people. Daryl's is about finding your truth and patterns, which I thought was a really kind of cool way to look at it. So if you're getting the vibe here that this is about like how we can help each other with our stories, it's really important. But listen, I'm going to ask a really, really profound question. And I'm going to bring up another slide. You ready? Michelle, how did you feel when you saw this when you opened up Amazon?
Yeah, it was crazy. It really was crazy. I was like, am I saying this correctly?
Was it surreal, or was it like, oh, was it a sense of relief, or was it more like, oh my gosh, this is one of the check boxes that I thought about when you talk about sitting there and like reflecting on where you want to go and imagining your new world. I
Mhm.
told you I read it. And don't you feel like seeing the book in publication is something that like unleashes you? Like, what was your gut feeling when you saw this morning?
Yeah, it was so exciting. I mean, I think part of me has been visualizing it for so long that I feel like I've seen it before. But when I was actually in that moment in real time, it really was surreal. That's the only word I can really think of. Like it really it came together in that moment. I was
I
just so
I
thrilled.
love that. And of course, we are going to um you have a very unique relationship with the cover artist as well, don't you?
I
Yeah.
do. Yes, that is my
Can
best
you talk
friend.
about that? Because we'll be working with her in the not too distant future too.
Mhm.
Tell us about like how you guys got connected, or how you guys came to decide on this as a book cover.
Yeah, so she's my best friend, so obviously I trust her judgment
Mhm,
a lot,
mhm.
and
Mhm.
Absolutely.
I didn't know exactly what I wanted on the cover, but she was the one that was like, "Do you have any metaphors you use in the book? What jumps out to you?" And so I just had this simple little idea of doing maybe some half rain, some half sun. But I mean, the way she took the few words, I was barely giving her anything, honestly. The few words that I gave her, she was able to make such a creative and unique idea that I could have absolutely never thought of.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think it's beautiful art. It
It
sits
is.
well on the shelf and all that other good stuff.
Mhm.
But of course, you can get it at Amazon.com. Follow the links that I have out here as well. I'm going to post them out there again. And the thing that it actually tells a lot of the story to me.
Yes.
Like, it
Yeah.
Mhm.
tells a lot of the story about your passion and how you're doing it and why you're doing it, and that becoming, where there's two different sides of it. One side is a green side, one side's a faded side. One side is the butterflies becoming. And one of the most profound things, and I don't know if that if you noticed this or not, the
Mhm.
butterflies aren't in the reflection. I think that was genius.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah.
genius, because you can't become if you've got that past mindset. You
Yeah,
can't become unless you
exactly.
are moving forward. You can't become if you don't see the greenery, even though some of the leaves are, the leaves are gonna die. You know it. It's the way
Yeah.
it happens since the day we were born.
Right.
But you're moving towards the green, you're moving towards the growth, you're moving towards all of that. In Holy Toledo, it's like it's right there. But that the fact that the butterflies aren't in the reflection, I went, "This person knows what they're doing."
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because I think when, sometimes when we approach it, we're like, "Whatever." Now they can find you directly at michellejohnson.com, right?
MichelleLJohnson.com.
Michelle L.
I
Johnson.
bite my tongue with that. michelleLjohnson.com. And
Yes.
what are you hoping to grow with this? This is just a great way to get in contact with you for
Yeah.
conversation, for how you're building your artist community, your writers community.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I really would love to further my mentoring business at this time. I think I've been working so hard on this book. It's been taking up so much of my time and energy
Mhm.
that I feel like I can finally really invest my time in my mentoring. And so that's something I really want to grow. And I would love for people to reach out through my email on my website for that.
That's awesome, and it's michelleLjohnson.com.
Yes.
And by the way, if you
Yes.
need that link, you can go to 10thhp.com, 10thhp.com, and you can find a link to Michelle's website as well. So you're gonna blow up now, you know that, right?
I hope so. That's the goal.
Remember when I said like a half a million people are gonna watch it?
Yeah, and I was
Watch
like,
this?
"No."
Yeah, we're at like 9. But hold on a second, that'll grow. That'll grow, because this is what happens. Especially since we're doing this during the day. This is the first week of school and what have you. And it's, people are busy or whatever, but I know people circle back to these and
Yeah,
they
of
end up
course.
binge watching, the content that's out there. One of the, you talk about the mentorship thing. One of the things in the book that I really liked, I thought, like, initially, this is so funny. And this is like me kind of showing behind the scenes stuff. When you're first starting out, you're like, you kind of need a home run. Your book is absolutely a home run, just to let you know. Like, so in a way, you're fulfilling some stuff for Daryl and I on our side of it, going, okay, we can work with this. When Daryl goes, well, there's a whole workbook attached to what she's doing. Because I was poking
Mhm.
holes in it. I'm like, she's a kid, get a job. I was being that guy. And then she goes, no, it kind of
You were
holds them up.
being a
Good. You
Gen
should probably.
X.
What's that?
You said you were being Gen X.
We were totally being Gen X. We were just like,
You
we
were.
drank out of garden hoses. Woohoo! Shit like that. And then when I opened it up, the hook for me was when Daryl goes, "There's a workbook involved as well," and I go, "Aha! Now we have something."
Hmm.
The content blew me away, and then the workbook, of course, is an assimilation. How does the workbook tie into your coaching? How do those two things kind of go together?
Yeah, so for me, the exercises I have in the workbook, those are really important things that I did myself. And so those are the starting exercises I would give anyone who wanted to start their self-development journey. And so that is definitely the process I would use in my mentoring as well.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic, and I think.
I have to
Do
laugh. Sorry. Paula just wrote, "Be kind to the Gen X." I am Gen X too, so I'm kinda making fun of myself with that. Um,
we're It's okay. You can make fun of your own kind, Paula.
yeah, but we have some great like, there's people already like, "Wow, I can't wait to read this," in our
Ah, that
comments.
makes me so
So,
happy.
yeah, yeah. I think the
And
word's
when you
definitely gonna
do buy
spread.
the book and you do read it and you do gift it and whatever, comment on it, review it.
Mhm.
Even before you hand it off, you can skim through it and take a look at it. Um, the intended person to read it doesn't have to be the one to review it. It's funny because one of the things that I've realized in the self help world is the more practical the advice is, and the more, so there are parts of this where you go, oh, it's so basic 101, or you were influenced by The Secret, or you were influenced by other thoughts, or whatever. The thing that's great about this book is how simplistic yet empathetic to the position that the person's in. I
Mm.
think that's really key. How have you seen your empathy be attached to where it is that you think you're going to go?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a huge part of me. I've always
Mhm.
been that way. I feel everything extremely deeply. I pick up on energies, everything around me. Um, and I think that can help me in my mentoring, absolutely. That allows me to connect with someone on a real deep level and to be able to help people feel really seen and heard, which I think it's not even always about the words you're speaking to someone, but your ability to help them feel seen is just as healing.
Absolutely, I
Yeah,
love
and
that. Yeah.
for sure.
Mhm. Sorry, Brandon, go ahead.
No, Daryl, go ahead.
No, 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 I was
You're
just gonna
trying to
say, I
jump in.
think a lot of times people just don't see I don't think they feel seen or heard, and
Mhm.
being able to, uh, give somebody that sense of, "Wow, somebody's actually listening to me," is huge in this day and age, especially post-COVID. People are much more isolated, we're on our phones, we're not paying attention to other people like we should be. So, for you to have your ability to, I think, be have that empath side of you come out so strongly through this is really a gift.
What do you think the relationship? It's funny. I had Alexandra here last night, and we had a really great conversation. Her career is she works with immigrants. She's basically a staffing firm for immigrants to help them get through the legalization of being able to work in the country. I mean, it is heavy
Mm.
lifting. It's God's work. There's really not any money in it because they're typically labor jobs, and but she's doing it because she feels very compelled to help others, and in that capacity. And we started talking about communication. We started talking about how people communicate, and she's noticed that generally when you're an immigrant in the country, you're not issued a phone. You have to kind of show up to work. You have to do those things. And one of her observations was, in a way, they don't have what they don't know, or they don't know what they don't have. How is your relationship with technology now? Because you've got things, I mean, TikTok is huge, Snapchat, all of those things. And by the way, the Gen Xers are going, "Snap who? Like tick what?" How do you feel the relationship is with creating your own standard in your relationship with things like social media?
Yeah, I think it's really important to find a balance in that regard because I think
Mhm.
as good as social media is for helping people and putting good things out there, I think it can also be overwhelming because you're consuming so much content at once that I'm not even
Mm.
sure we're meant to consume all of that at once as
Right.
humans. And it's having to draw the line with yourself and be like, okay, I need to balance this because, especially as being someone who absorbs energies and information very easily, I get overwhelmed. So it's creating that balance and figuring out what works for you and not overdoing it in that regard.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's key. I think it's harder for the younger generations to shut it off and step away from it. And um, it's not healthy. You don't build relationships when you're consumed with your phone and social media. But yet it's such a way for people to connect nowadays. And speaking of that, how can people find you on TikTok? What's your TikTok?
Yeah, it's at shift your standards.
Ah,
Look at that.
awesome.
Look at that. And I also just put up her website as well. And right at the bottom, there's a TikTok icon. I'm going to click on it and see if I get into trouble.
I hope it works. We were working on that
Well,
yesterday.
we'll find out.
Yeah. Did you like work through the night to make sure that everything works on your website?
Yeah, but I will say there may be an icon or two on there that was giving me trouble. So it's very possible that the bottom one does not work.
The bottom one does not work, just to
We'll
let you
find
know.
The
out.
TikTok
But
one
that's
should work.
but that's okay. You can find you on TikTok at the Shift Your Standards. How did you like getting a headshot done?
Yeah,
Was
that
that
was so
new for
much
you?
fun. No, I loved
Lorraine
it.
is fun, right? Yeah, Lorraine is fun.
No, she
Yeah,
was great. She made me feel so comfortable.
yeah.
Good.
And by the way,
Good.
we're referring to Lorraine Toth, who has Dollface Photography. Look her up. She does a lot of great stuff. Daryl's headshot, my headshot. We're all out there.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I think the first time you go through a headshot experience and you're just like, you can really gauge whether or not you're going to be a natural at it or not. People in their 40s and 50s, the first time that they get their headshot, they look like this.
It's because we went through glamour shots. Where's
No,
my
I'd be
feathered
wearing a
boa?
boa.
I
Be
know,
wearing a
right?
boa for that.
Where's my boa and my big hair?
Oh my gosh, there was one. So I've been to a lot of funerals lately, and one of the funerals, it brought up a story. I once had to eulogize somebody whose husband, they were kind of estranged, but they were still together. None of my business, whatever. And he thought what was appropriate to be next to her urn were her boudoir glamour shots. It was awkward. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today. Those are nipples. Like, it was one of those things. It was like not too much. By the way, Lorraine Toth is full service. Anyway, so look, if Lorraine gets this far into the podcast, and she should, I hope she's busting a gut right now because
I
that's a funny
I'm
story.
sure she I'm sure she is. Oh my god.
But anyways, hey, Daryl, I think you've got kind of a fun set for us here, right?
I do.
You want to kind of
We
take,
have something
as we're
fun.
talking about Generation X, and as we're talking about all things about becoming who we're supposed to be and all that other good stuff. I think Daryl's kind of got a fun trivia for us. Which, by the way,
So
Michelle, you had no idea was coming.
I did not.
no, no. So I usually do a top 10 theme on each podcast, sort of related to the topic. And I was trying to decide what to do because it's kind of hard to do. I was like, can I do trivia about horses? She's an equestrian, right? Like I was kind of going through all these different things. And then I thought, we're going to test Brandon's memory, music
We're gonna
memory.
turn this on Brandon. Since he
Perfect.
did
We love
virtually
that.
none of the heavy lifting, I did all of the post hoc stuff with the book. I didn't do anything leading up to it. So all the hard work was the two of you.
Right. So that's why I asked what your date of birth is. Oh, somebody just bought your book. Thank you, Lisa. Lisa
Yay.
Liftack.
There's
Woohoo.
been more than a few
Yeah,
if you're
we've had a
following
lot of
behind the scenes.
hits. Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, and by the way, the
Awesome.
website right now has people on it from Iowa, Rochester, Saratoga Springs, Utica, Colony, Clifton Park. Thank you guys.
All
Thank you
over.
guys. I
Thank
know you're checking
you.
stuff out. Uh,
Um,
so
so
so what are you gonna quiz me on? Is that what this
so
is?
I'm gonna quiz both of you because maybe
Oh,
Michelle knows the music, but so that's why I asked what your date of birth was. So this is the top 10 songs from the Billboard 100 for the week of 4/26/1997. Michelle was born on 4/24/97. So, w so my trivia is, oh, yeah, what were the top 10 artists? And bonus if you can get the song or vice versa. So that is our and so Michelle, you may know what was popular in April
See,
of
I'm
possible.
67.
automatically, even though even though it seems like Michelle might be at a disadvantage, everybody has played the what was the number one hit on the day you were born, right?
Mhm.
So Michelle, if you've done any of that, then you're ahead of the game.
I
Um,
your
We'll
layman's
see.
Michelle's like, why would I do that? That is so Gen X. What do you drink out of a hose? I can tell you
No,
drink
I'm
out of a
just the
hose.
kind of person I never know any names of anything. So I'm like,
So my competition is formidable today.
yes.
right. I think Brandon's
All
taking
right,
the
I'll go first because I'm gonna throw it out there because I think I have to kind of narrow it down. Um,
This list is all over the place. I'm just letting you know.
I've got one in my back pocket, but I'm gonna start with somebody that might be sitting right on the top of this. I think it
Mm.
was mid-cycle for them, so I don't know if they have anything. I'm gonna ask about Prince right here. Is Prince on there?
Ooh, it's a great guess, but no, not a
Anything
Prince
he
song.
wrote is anything he wrote on there?
No, no,
Okay. Alright, so that'll
I
limit.
don't believe
Do you
so.
guys get how I just asked that question? Like, some people just sat up and went, "That's a smart one, Brandon, because nothing compares to you."
Mhm. Right, he's
Manic
got a
Monday.
lot of songs that he wrote, yes. No, good guess, but
Okay.
no.
Alright, Michelle, your turn for
Michelle,
this
do you
disaster.
have
All
any
right.
guesses on an artist? Top
I
10 song.
feel like I don't remember how young I was, but there was
You were
an
just born.
Uncle Cracker song that was big when I was young. So I'm gonna go with that.
Uncle Cracker?
Yeah.
No,
But
No.
you'll
but
be buzzing like a bee, aren't you?
That was my one guess, so don't ask again.
We
okay, just think of
love
some others, think of some others.
we absolutely love pop culture references. I'm gonna go with the Rembrandts.
No, but I know why I understand why you're guessing that.
Yeah,
Nope.
that's
Mm-mm.
why. Okay.
Sorry.
I totally went Friends on that one. Alright, your turn, kid.
Alright,
Um,
Michelle, any other guesses? Just throw out some
Aerosmith.
nope.
Yeah, they took off the mid-90s. I'm trying to think of
I know this
who
is
would have
kind of
had
a tough list.
Ricky Martin.
No.
Oh, you
Mm-mm.
asshole. I was ready to go, "Din, din, da, din, 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 din. Din, din, da, din, din, din." Meanwhile,
Think
Michelle's
kind
just
of
like, "There's
mm,
not enough alcohol in college for that."
right. Think along that line, though, for some
Oh,
of these.
I know what song was out.
Mm.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Um,
Oh, you were teasing us.
can it be a band or does it have to be an artist?
Yep. Nope, band,
All right.
artist. Yep,
I don't know when they were, so bear with me.
that's
Maybe
okay.
Green Day? Is that one?
Oh, another good guess. No.
No, they will
No.
come around in another one. How about
Yeah.
Mumbo Number 5?
No. No.
I got nothing.
Do you guys I
Oh,
can give you some hints.
okay.
All right. Let's see. I'm gonna throw out there were a couple of hip hops, pretty big hip hops. One is not with us
House
anymore.
of Pain,
No.
Mm,
not with us anymore. Biggie?
Yes.
Really?
Notorious B.I.G. number 2. Number 2.
What
Big old biggie.
colossal hit was that?
Hypnotize. Oh, Brandon, you froze.
What oh, shit.
Or is it me?
What colossal hit was that with Biggie?
Hello? Hello?
Our internet's just a lot of fun today.
oh no.
Hello?
I don't know what that was.
Huh.
I have no idea what that was. So, we'll start from there. What was Biggie's big deal?
Biggie's big song was Hypnotize.
Mm, that's a good
Mhm.
one.
That is a good song.
Gotta go hand in hand. It had to be Tupac.
No, no, no Tupac.
Eminem.
No, I think a little too early for Eminem.
It's a little too, yeah, because he
Mm,
hit 99. Not Dre.
Nope. You're in the right ballpark for the other one.
Because I'm so good at hip hop. I'm so good at this genre.
He just had a big scandal.
Oh, Puff.
Yeah, Puff Daddy. Can't hold me down. I don't even know that song.
Bullshit. This is your playlist.
I know.
This is your playlist when we go to lunch. You do know that, Michelle, right? Like, that's part of the thing. She's like, I need new songs. When will you play?
Yeah.
Right. All right, Michelle. Any other?
I got one. John Mellencamp.
No.
Because I thought that was Paper and Fire time. George Michael.
Nope. I know.
Backstreet Boys.
Oh, good guess. Good
By the
guess.
way, I'm going to give this one to you, Michelle. Say In Sync.
In Sync.
No. Really?
There was kind of a band, but not a boy band.
Color Me Bad.
No, not a boy band. A popular band. Not boys. They had a lot of hits from England.
AC/DC. No.
The Beatles. I don't know when they were.
Michelle, you are beloved by everybody now. Oh, we've got a suggestion. Lisa said TLC.
Oh, Lisa, so close. On the right track, though.
Destiny's Child, then.
No.
Oh, because Beyonce was still.
They're English.
Bananarama. Listen, say what you want. Bananarama has had more number one hits than Madonna.
I liked Bananarama.
Because it's a cruel summer.
It was a cruel summer.
All right, Venus, relax. Oh, Lisa might have nailed it. Spice Girls.
Yes. Good job, Lisa.
I say that all the time. Like I'm a walking ambassador of Scary Spice.
Wannabe was their big hit, their breakout song.
Do this a little more.
Ooh,
if you want to be
what you really, really want.
So, which Spice Girl are you, Daryl?
Oh, which one do you think I am? I don't know.
Sporty.
Yeah, I would go with that. I'm definitely not posh. I'm not.
No,
posh.
but you would try and pull that shit off for Beckham. You would absolutely put on a tracksuit for Beckham.
Well, who wouldn't? Come on.
I mean, I did.
No, Lisa, you're good. Anybody throw out some suggestions? Paula said Elton, which Elton was a good guess too. So some of these now are getting kind of hard. We've got some solo female artists. I'm going to throw that out there.
Taylor Dane.
Oh, no. Good guess.
Mariah Carey. Is that a good one?
Another good guess. No.
Oh, I would have thought Mariah Carey.
I know.
I'm running out.
I think she released shortly after you were born. I think she released her big seminal hit.
There's 4.
She was late 97.
Yep. 4 solo female artists. I know, right? And that's
I'm going to be Gen X here and go Pat Benatar. No. Oh, I can see her. Kylie Minogue.
Oh, Lisa's coming in hot here. Celine Dion.
Oh my gosh. She's also not on camera. I'm busting your chops, Lisa.
All
but
by
Celine
myself.
Dion. So was this Titanic time?
Close, but it was All by Myself.
All by myself. I do all my own voiceover work. All right, calm down.
I can't sing.
Got a better chance on the hood of a car, kid.
I know.
So then, oh my gosh, who else? All right, so I like that tone. I can't see who else. Gloria Estefan. No. How about
guesses?
Oh, Shania Twain.
I don't know.
Shania Twain. Oh, don't freeze on me.
Nope. Oh no.
This is horrible.
Are we frozen again?
Yep.
Shania Twain.
No.
Not Shania Twain.
Mm-mm. Did you just type it into?
What's that?
I said, did you just type it into?
I totally just typed it in. I wanted full credit. I wanted full credit. I didn't want to lose it. So not Shania Twain.
Oh, Brandon, I think
We lost him.
we're losing you.
This is getting a bit much.
It is. This is crazy.
So, oh my God, I just had another one too. Tracy Chapman.
No. Mm-mm. Good guess, though.
Jewel.
Yes. Yes. You
All right,
were
now we
meant
can.
for me. You were meant for me.
Mm-hmm.
Number
And
3.
you were meant for me. And I'm gonna say Sean Colvin.
Ooh, you're so close with that
Yeah.
guess. So close with that guess.
So not Sean Colvin. So it'd be Sarah
Mm-mm.
McLachlan.
No.
Where have all the cowboys gone?
Yes. Who is that?
Oh, I got the name of the song.
You did. You totally did. Paula
Paula
Cole.
Cole. Yeah, there we go.
Yes. Good
Where have
job.
all the
Wow.
cowboys gone? All
That's
right,
number
now
10.
I'm locked in. Now I'm locked in. We probably had something from oh, Cannonball.
No,
That was
that's a
about
good
that
guess,
time
though.
though.
Mhm.
Which, by the way, if you want to do some deep history dive, find out what the purpose or what the meaning of the song Cannonball is.
Great song.
You'll never be the same.
Michelle, do you know that song? Do you have any guesses, Michelle?
um,
Google it
Snoop
and
Dogg.
Snoop Dogg. Oh,
Is that a good one?
that is a good guess, but no.
I mean, is it me? We still haven't done a show talking about Snoop Dogg on the Olympics.
We do have to do one
Oh
because
my God, we
he
have to
was
talk about.
He
amazing.
was an equestrian at one point.
All right, we got to wrap up.
Yeah, we're just losing. Okay, I will just finish up with the rest of the ones where you
Okay.
guys didn't get. All right, number 4 was Monica. There's a name I bet nobody's
Hold on a
heard
second. It
in
was
20
Monica
years.
was the name of the artist. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just keep going. We'll wrap up.
Can you still hear me? Hello?
This is out of control. Sorry about all the technical stuff here, everybody. Holy Toledo. Are we having fun yet? There's still a few of you hanging out there making sure that people want to hear the answer. And of course, we need to get Daryl. My gosh. I got to tell you, hitting Snoop like that, I'm all right with that. There you go. All right, Daryl, wrap us up. We'll head home.
All right.
We'll
So
cut this up later.
Monica, For You I Will. It was some sort of hit from the movie Space Jam. Never saw it.
Okay.
This one is Savage Garden.
Oh.
I Want You. That was a big song. 97.
Wow. I'll be your fantasy. Yeah.
Number 8, Mark Morrison, Return of the Mac. I actually have that in
Really?
my iTunes. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And the last one, which I don't think either of you guys would have gotten, As Yet, featuring Peter Cetera, Hard to Say I'm Sorry. I remember that being on the
Oh,
radio.
gosh. All right, everybody. Goodbye. Mwah. Michelle, thank you so much for being part of our guest scene here, and we're going to see you guys soon. We're going to end it out here.